Okay, hi. I'm Dr. Mary Elder with 4 Points Family Chiropractic. Sorry about that. I guess my Firefox update did not work, so we're going to do it on the phone because it's just as good. We are at 4 Points Family Chiropractic. We are located in Austin, Texas, in North Austin. Welcome to the Facebook Live. Sorry we're a little late. Those are technical difficulties I don't typically have, but here we are. So the thyroid is easily one of the most important parts of your body. It's a master gland. It controls a lot. These little Facebook Lives that we do are meant to be bite-sized so that you can kind of watch them, take information from them. The thyroid, however, is not a bite-sized gland. So I am intending on making this some version of a series where we talk about some endocrine function. That being said, if you have any questions or you want clarification or you want anything else covered, you can drop a comment here, or you can also email me at drmary@fourpointschiropractic.com, and I'm happy to do that. So the thyroid gland itself is a butterfly-shaped gland that is here at the base of your neck, and it has a huge impact on your body. So it controls your core body temperature, it controls your metabolism, and it controls the hormones that go throughout your body, and they control how much oxygen and energy is getting into the cells of your body so that your body can function the way that it's supposed to. So over 20 million Americans are affected by thyroid dysfunction issues. That is a huge number. I think what's more concerning is that of those 20 million people, the vast majority of them have no idea that their thyroid's not functioning optimally. They just don't know. It impacts women significantly more than men, and hypothyroidism is by far and away the more common presentation. So when I describe thyroid issues, the way it presents in the body, we're talking about a vast array of symptoms. So things like fatigue, mood regulation issues, weight gain, brain fog, there's constipation, miscarriages, achy joints, decreased immunity, which is like extra important right now. You'll see insulin resistance, you'll see increases in LDL cholesterol, which is the bad type. Men will see low testosterone, women will see low progesterone, and there's anemia that'll present also. So all of these problems present, and all of that's these symptoms are long before any of this shows up in the blood test that'll happen, and I'll tell you why in a second. But here in the middle of this. So all of this gets misdiagnosed fairly often, which is hard for practitioners also, because you can see how a lot of this would show up as totally different things. It'll get misdiagnosed as depression, which I would argue isn't a misdiagnosis so much as it's a side effect. Sometimes it will cause infertility issues. It'll get diagnosed as rheumatoid arthritis, fibromyalgia, all of these things that are really reflective of thyroid dysfunction. So where does it go wrong? Why does that happen? Well, first you have to kind of understand how the thyroid works. Again, it's a complicated gland. I'm going to do this fast and dirty so you kind of have a general overview of how it works. The thyroid produces two main hormones, T3, which is the active form of the hormone, right? So that's what goes into your cell, and it helps the cell increase metabolism, it burns body fat, it increases your focus, your immunity. That is 10% of what your thyroid gland produces. The other 90% is T4. T4 is the inactive form of T3. So it has to get turned on to do the work that T3 is doing. So T3 is what's doing the work, T4 is like on deck, ready to do it. Now you might be wondering why a full 90% of it is the inactive form. And it's because it circulates through the body so that it can be bioavailable when your body needs it, where it needs it. So it just needs to be ready and willing to work wherever it goes. And that's why there's more T4 than by T3. So it's converted to T3 in all different parts of the body, and it's mostly the liver, gut, and brain, but different tissues will do it as well. So here's where I tell you that a thyroid problem actually typically isn't a problem with just the thyroid gland. It can come from a lot of different places. So basically what happens is the body tells the brain it needs energy. we're doing something, we're taking a test, we're running, we need energy coming into the cells because the cells are doing work. That signal goes up to the hypothalamus, which is another master part of your brain. The hypothalamus lets your pituitary gland know, hey, the thyroid needs to start working. And the pituitary gland releases what's called TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. That stimulates the thyroid to produce T3 and T4 to go to the rest of the body and do the work that it needs to do. So baseline here, right, we need our neurology working appropriately so those signals can get up to the hypothalamus and the hypothalamus can communicate with the pituitary gland. And that's one of the things that we check here in our office. Our whole goal here is to make sure you are functioning as close to neurological optimal as we can possibly get you. So if you're already a patient in our office, you know that one of the things we do is check your nervous system function every time you come in. And that's to make sure that those signals are getting through to your body the way that they're supposed to. So if you know anybody where you think this might be a connection issue, problems with communication in their body, and you want to get them checked, we do a full exam here in our office, including full spine x-rays, a thermographic nerve study to see where that miscommunication might be happening, biostructural exam, ortho, neuro, any of the necessary exams. That's normally $315, but if they call in and they want to get checked specifically for this, and they mention thyroid or this Facebook, it's $67. So that's a good way to come in and get checked. So baseline, right, we want our body communicating appropriately. Now, when it comes to the thyroid, it can be a problem upstream, a problem in the brain, so like the brain isn't getting the signal. It can be a problem locally at the thyroid itself. That's not as common as a lot of people think. That would be an autoimmune issue, which that's systemic too. That's a whole different conversation. But to check that, you would need to get blood work done for thyroid antibodies. There's 2 to check for, and full blood panels are rarely done. Most likelihood, if there's a thyroid issue, it's actually downline. So it's down in the actual body, and it's because the tissue itself locally is too stressed to make any sort of use of the T4. It can't convert it. So you can have all this T4 in your body and it's incapable of transitioning it into energy. So it's never just really a thyroid problem. Basically, the T4 is circulating in your body and it can't convert it. So the tissue sends signals to your brain, hey, I'm tired, I need work, T4. And that's why when they do blood work and they're only looking at your TSH, it's not enough to show up in your blood as being clinically relevant because your body will clear it. So when you're getting your thyroid assessed and the only thing they're checking is thyroid stimulating hormone, hopefully I'm back. Okay. Sorry guys, not our best work. But if that thyroid stimulating hormone is the only thing that's getting assessed, then you're really not getting a full picture of what's going on with your body. In fact, the TSH probably won't be outside of the realm of what's considered normal for anywhere from 5 to 15 years. So people can be subclinical and have all these symptoms, and it's not being acknowledged as a thyroid problem for a long time. And that's concerning because by then you're kind of dealing with a different problem. But if you're getting your thyroid checked, if you're getting it assessed, ask your doctor for the full thyroid panel. So you want TSH, you want free T3, free T4, antibodies, and reverse T3. That's going to give you a full picture of what's going on. Now, what are the actual culprits here? Like what's causing the downline problems? If you have met any of our doctors or spent any of our time in this office, you know one of the big things we talk about is chronic inflammation. It comes from a lot of different sources. It makes a huge impact in the body, but those conversion problems, they happen from a lot of different places. So for example, low vitamin D levels. Your thyroid cannot function with low vitamin D levels. It won't do what it's supposed to do. We've been talking a lot about that this past year, both in the office and kind of out in the world, because that's such a huge part of your immune system. Your thyroid's a part of that. This is very easy to check. This is real easy to test. It's a blood test. I personally check my vitamin D 2 times a year. I test it as we're coming out of winter and as we're going into winter because I want to have a good baseline when I know I'm not going to be outside. In the summer, it's easy here. We're in Texas. You get it anyway, just being outside. But if you do find that you are chronically low, you need to supplement. Use D3, not D2. It is more available for your body. It absorbs it better. Now, the chronic inflammation, again, that can come from a lot of different things. It's diet, it's stress, it's insulin resistance, blood sugar issues. But what that does is it creates inflammation at the cell level. So the T3 can't get into the cell because there's so much inflammation. That's a very minute issue, but it has huge implications, right? Diets high in fast food will affect your thyroid function, and so will too much alcohol and copious amounts of caffeine. I know, that's sad. We all love our coffee, but what those three things do is they put stress on your liver. If your liver is too busy processing fast food and high processed food and alcohol and caffeine, it can't take time to convert the T4 into the T3. That's bad news because 60% of that T4 to T3 conversion happens in your liver. So a problem there can cause like 60% downline problems. So even just focusing on your liver health makes a big difference. Medications can affect downline. Obviously, don't stop any without talking to your doctor, but I mean, hormonal birth control is one big one that'll have impact. Environmental toxins, that's a big part of this. There's a lot about BPA and BPB in the news about 10 years ago, and then it kind of went away, but it's a huge blocker. It makes an impact on your thyroid gland and your adrenal glands and a whole bunch of other issues. Mold toxicity. Here in Texas, that's a big one for us. We don't probably check for it as much as we can. It's damp. Mold's a problem kind of systemically also. And you know, when it's damp out, it's outside too. Heavy metals, that's another big one. Just being aware of what you're consuming throughout the day in your body is going to make a big difference. Decrease in micronutrients will impact your thyroid gland. Your body doesn't have the little itty bitty pieces it needs to do what it needs. So it needs selenium, B12, iron. If you're getting that checked in your blood work, you're going to want to look at your ferritin and your transferrin, make sure that transferrin, make sure those two things are working appropriately. Now, the good news here to me, I think, is if you're listening to all of this and you're thinking like, oh, that's easy stuff to fix. Good. That's kind of my point here because we really want you to have as much power as you can to control these, right? There's so much lifestyle that can go into this. Actually, 90% of all chronic problems, all chronic health issues, a full 90% are lifestyle issues. You have control of that. That's where you get to make your impact. So that kind of circles me back to really the biggest enemy of thyroid function, and that's stress, chronic stress. We're under it a lot. It's just kind of an issue here with us, particularly over the past couple of years, but you know, and I mean, larger society, culture, we go all the time. We are on constantly. You probably sleep less than you used to. You're on more, you talk more. I mean, most people wake up and the first thing they do is they look at their phone. What have I missed? What do I need to check? What do I need to worry about? That, whether you realize it or not, since your stress level's through the roof, you're dumping that cortisol immediately when you start your day. That's not really how it's supposed to work. Now, the issue is that we're in fight or flight all the time. We just like live there, and we have trouble getting back into a parasympathetic state where we can rest and reset and relax and our body heals. And then we just go until we crash, and then we can't really sleep because we're still amped. So we're exhausted, and that's when we start using stimulants, and it's just a whole vicious circle. So our job really is to reset your neurology. We want to make sure that you are able to get into the parasympathetic state and out of the sympathetic state the way that you're supposed to. We are not under attack all the time. I know it feels that way, but we are not. So I can't emphasize how much chronic stress takes a toll on your body. God, this is when everyone wants to talk to me. This makes such a big impact on your overall health, how you're sleeping, how you're healing and repairing, and of course, your thyroid function. So it's frustrating to have to be able to rest and not be able to do so. I know, I've been there. So this is where we've been able to make a big impact for a lot of our patients, which is great. Again, our job is to make sure your nervous system's balanced as much as we can. We check for your neurological normal, try to make sure that you're there as often as possible, and when you're outside of that normal range, that you're able to rebound into your normal again. So that stress, chronic stress underlying, isn't something that's impacting all of your glands and nervous system and everything all of the time. So again, if you think that a nervous system balance is something that you're concerned about, go ahead and let us know. Give us a call at 512-345-9355 if you're in the Austin, Texas area and you want to get assessed. Again, we do a full exam to check your neurology, thermographic nerve study, x-rays, orthos, neuros, all of that, and a consult and a follow-up with the doctor to review everything. It's normally $315, but if you call in and you mention this Facebook Live, just say thyroid, they'll know what it means. Then you can get that full intake for $67. So please let us know if we can help in any way, shape, or form. I love talking about this. If you have any questions or you want me to cover anything specific in later Facebook Lives, please just drop a comment. Or again, you can email me at drmary@fourpointschiropractic.com. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Try and do it from home next time so I have like solid Wi-Fi. But thank you for tuning in. And again, let me know if you have any questions.